Yay! You are here because you're about to hit a big milestone in your child's development. It's time to drop the swaddle, but it can be a little bit intimidating. So let's go over when we are going to drop the swaddle and how to transition them to free arms while they're sleeping successfully. Hi, my name is Sarah Babbio, and as the owner and pediatric sleep expert of Your Zen Baby Sleep, I have worked with over 400 families to help them stop searching and start sleeping. And today, I am going to help your baby successfully transition out of their swaddle. When should your baby drop a swaddle? Number one, if your baby is rolling from their back to their belly or from their belly to their back, they need to have the swaddle dropped to follow safe sleep practices. So please make sure at that point that we are just dropping it cold turkey. I'm cutting right to the chase. However, if your baby is not at that developmental skill yet and they are about 12 to 16 weeks old, this is a great time period to start allowing them a little more freedom of movement with their arms while they're sleeping. The reason being, it might be really hard for them to swaddle, and it might be, they might not want to keep their hands down necessarily, and you might see that you've now received a Houdini baby, who even no matter how tightly you've swaddled them, can get their little fingers up to the top and eventually out of the swaddle, no matter how wonderful or tight that swaddle is. Now, could you drop the swaddle sooner than 12 weeks? You could, but I really encourage parents to use it as long as possible, only because babies really do enjoy having that nice, tight recreation of the feeling of being in the womb, as well as making sure that their Moro reflex is stifled specifically during sleep time. So they're gonna spend a lot of time out of the swaddle when you're doing tummy time, when they're at the breast or being fed a bottle, when they're in another, on the floor in another type of safe container. But when they are sleeping in their bassinet or their crib, having them swaddled is just going to extend their nighttime and their nap time sleep. So if you're like right now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Sarah, they don't love the swaddle. They scream every time I try and put them in the swaddle. What I'm going to encourage you to do is to think about, do they not like the swaddle, or is it because they're actually just really tired and they're crying because they're tired, which is coinciding with you putting them in the swaddle? So if you'd like to experiment with that and your baby is younger than 12 weeks, what I advise you doing is actually putting them to sleep earlier than what you thought is the end of their normal wake window. So let's say you are using 60-minute wake windows for your 6-week-old. Maybe your 6-week-old can only stay awake for 45 minutes. Try swaddling them at 45 minutes and see if you still get that really upset reaction, or if they really happily go into that swaddle and drift off into sleep more easily at that point in time. There are several different ways that we can drop the swaddle. Let's talk about the really slow and gradual transition. What I would like you to do on nighttime, day one, is take one arm out and leave one arm unswaddled with the other arm swaddled down. And we are going to do that at night and naps for about 2 days. And then what I'd like you to do the next 2 days is have both arms out. So the swaddle is just around the abdomen and chest area. And then I'd like you to drop that piece all together and just put them in a regular sleep sack. A second way to drop the swaddle is to purchase a transitional item, such as the Magic Merlin sleep suit. Now, I always give the disclaimer to my families that it really can be magic. Some kids love it and it really makes the transition a lot smoother. However, it is transitional. So when you purchase it, it's going to have a very short shelf life. You might only be using it for maybe 4 weeks, if that. So just keep that in mind in terms of your investment, and maybe try to borrow it from a family member or somebody else who you know may have it, so that you're not buying one more piece of baby gear that you're only going to use for a short period of time. And with the Magic Merlin, it's pretty simple. You're just going to take the baby out of the swaddle and put them in the Magic Merlin. The Merlin is not weighted. It's just a really thick material that gives more freedom of movement, but still prevents the arms from flailing all the way up when they do experience that Moro reflex, and still gives that feeling of tightness because of the thick material, but does not have like the weightedness on top like a weighted sleep sack would. Which, by the way, side note, I don't recommend any type of weighted sleep products for babies. And the final way to drop the swaddle, just drop it cold turkey. Pretty easy to explain. just stop using the Swaddle. Don't worry about one arm out, the next arm out. Forget about the Magic Merlin. Just put them in a sleep sack, put them in the bassinet or crib, and they are going to figure out how to sleep with their arms, having more freedom of movement. What can we expect when we drop the Swaddle, and how long will it take? You know, it really depends on the baby, right? So every baby handles this transition a little differently, but generally it's about 2 or 3 nights that may have shorter stretches of sleep than you've been experiencing. So just buckle up for 2 or 3 kind of off nights, and then they're going to be used to moving their arms and their legs and their hands around, and you'll get more consolidated sleep again. If you decided to drop the Swaddle and you have been working at it for longer than 2 or 3 nights, so you're going on 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 weeks of really rough sleep, what I would say is that you have 2 options. Bring the Swaddle back or transition it in another way. Let's say you went cold turkey. Maybe that's not the best way that your baby learns. So you might want to use a Magic Merlin to help them get over that hump. Maybe you do the very gradual one arm out and then the next arm. And if all of that doesn't work and you would like some personalized sleep support, I'm your girl. Head over to my website. I work with infants at this age all of the time to help them through all of the major transitions they go through leading up to the 4th month. And I would love to help your family get a consolidated night of sleep. If you found this information helpful, please let me know by liking the video below. And I'd love for you to ask me questions. Leave a comment. What do you want me to help you troubleshoot while you are dropping the Swaddle? Is sleep content something that you need more of? Do you have a baby who you are really trying to make sure you keep on track as their sleep grow and evolves? Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I publish videos like this once a week. And the way that you're gonna know about it, turning on notifications. Make sure that they are on so that you're the first to know when I publish my weekly sleep tips. From my living room to yours, thank you so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see you again next time.